You know that feeling when you're stuck in gridlock traffic?
Oh, the absolute worst.
Right, and you're gripping the steering wheel so tight your knuckles literally turn white. You're just staring at the clock on your dashboard.
Yeah, just watching that little digital minute flip over.
And you feel this, like, rising panic in your chest. Maybe you're rushing to a massive presentation or, I don't know, trying to pick up your kids before the daycare charges you late fees.
Hmm.
You can practically feel your life slipping away, second by second, drop by drop. We really treat time like this relentless ticking predator that's always right on our heels.
It really is the ultimate source of modern anxiety, isn't it? I mean,
Right.
we strap it to our wrists, we put it in the corner of every single screen we look at,
Yeah.
we build our entire societal infrastructure around it, and yet we constantly feel like we're running out of it. It dictates our stress levels, our sense of achievement, and, well, even our biology.
Exactly. But what if everything you think you know about that ticking clock is completely backwards?
That's the big question today.
Because whether you're commuting right now, doing the dishes, or just taking a walk to clear your head, this deep dive is going to completely flip how you perceive those minutes ticking by.
It really will.
What we really wanted to figure out today is how to reframe our relationship with the clock. And to do that, we're looking at a really profound, somewhat mystical text written in 2006 by Su Feng. It's called The Secret of Time.
And it's a remarkable piece of writing, truly, because it attempts to completely deconstruct what time actually is on a fundamental atomic level.
Right.
It argues that time isn't what we think it is. It's tethered entirely to physical matter. And more importantly, this text provides a philosophical roadmap for escaping that relentless ticking we just talked about.
It is definitely a mind bender. And we should probably set the stage right up front. The text blends some really high-level physics concepts with deep spiritual and religious philosophies.
Yes. Very heavily.
So you're going to hear us mention concepts like the Tao, the Tathagata, angels, and the greatest creator. Now, we are not here to endorse any specific religious viewpoint today.
Absolutely not.
We're impartially exploring these ideas as a fascinating, intricate framework. It's just a lens presented by the author to help us understand our place in the universe.
Precisely. We're stepping into this author's worldview, kind of borrowing their lens for a little while to see what we can learn about our own deeply ingrained anxieties about aging and, running out of time.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because riffing starts with a foundational definition that completely changes the game. He states that time is simply the recorder of material cycles.
Just a reporter.
That's it, a recorder. It begins with the creation of physical matter and ends with its demise.
Right, which means time is not an independent force. It does not exist on its own in some empty, dark vacuum.
Like it's not a physical thing flying around.
Exactly. It is deeply, fundamentally bound to physical stuff. The text uses incredibly poetic imagery to describe this dynamic, actually. It talks about how the universe flies in eons and life twists and turns in years.
Well,
Yeah, time is described as this mysterious experience of bringing forth the new from the old, drowning the vicissitudes of transitional times, transforming hope into despair, and turning solids into gas and smoke.
I really love that imagery, drowning the vicissitudes of transitional times. But let me try an analogy to make this a little less abstract for us.
Go for it.
Think of time not as a ticking clock on the wall, but more like a shadow cast by physical stuff moving around.
Okay, shadow.
Right. If you're standing outside in the sun, your body casts a shadow on the ground. If you move, the shadow moves. If your body completely disappears, the shadow disappears. There's no shadow without the physical object. So in this framework, time is just the shadow of physical matter. If there is no physical matter moving, decaying, or changing, there is no time.
Yes, and taking that further, just as a shadow warps and stretches when the ground beneath it changes, the text argues time warps based on the matter it's attached to. Everything in the universe, from massive eons of cosmic history down to the seasons of summer and winter, is governed by this force of material change. Time is essentially just the exhaust fume of physical existence.
But let me push back on that for a second. Because if time is just a recorder of physical stuff, like a shadow or an exhaust fume, does that mean time is actually completely powerless on its own?
That's a very good question.
Because we always talk about the ravages of time, or we say time heals all wounds, as if time is the guy swinging the hammer. Is time actually doing nothing?
What's fascinating here is that in the context of this source, Time only wields power because physical matter is in a constant, inescapable state of motion and decay.
Oh, I see.
Time is just the measurement of that inevitable transformation.
Mm.
It only has teeth because matter is inherently unstable.
It's just tracking the instability.
Exactly. The text says that since the motion of matter is absolute, time changes everything and decides all. It can transform the decadent into magic and the ordinary into extraordinary.
But it's not a physical hand.
Right. The crucial distinction is that time isn't a hand reaching out and crushing a mountain into dust. The universal law is that the mountain's physical structure must eventually degrade into dust, and time is just the ledger keeping track of that happening.
So for you listening right now, look at an object near you. Maybe it's the coffee cup on your desk or, the steering wheel in your car.
Yeah.
According to this text, the time you're experiencing right now, the seconds you literally feel passing, are directly tied to the slow physical decay and movement of that very object.
I mean, wild to think about.
If that coffee cup didn't exist, if your physical body didn't exist, the time tethered to you wouldn't exist either.
It forces you to realize how completely grounded in the physical world our concept of rushing actually is. When you're stressed about being late, you're actually just stressed about the physical location of your biological body relative to other physical objects.
Right. But this shadow analogy leaves a massive gap. Because the shadow just mimics the object. Does time actually have its own physics?
Well, Shuifeng says yes.
And the mechanics outlined in the text are startling. He lays out 8 specific characteristics, and instead of just listing them off, we need to really look at how they interact, starting with the deeply ghostly nature of time.
Ghostly is the perfect word. The text describes time as completely non-material. It's untraceable, formless, shapeless, heartless, senseless, invisible, and untouchable.
So totally imperceptible directly.
Exactly. You can see the result of it, but you can never catch it in a jar. But despite being invisible, it has a rigid mathematical direction. The text states future time is positive and past time is negative.
Which sounds simple, but why is a negative? Why not just call it 0?
Because of matter. If time is just the recorder of matter, then the past is negative, because that specific arrangement of matter has already decayed and vanished.
Oh, so it's like a deficit.
It's a deficit.
Yeah.
The future is positive because it holds the potential for new material movement and formation. It's a mathematical progression of physical states.
That makes sense. And that ties directly into how scale works here. The text says time is both particular and universal. So particular time applies to specific individual things, like the lifespan of a single mayfly, which lives for just one day, has its own particular time. The mayfly's clock is incredibly fast, but then there is universal time, which governs the entire cosmos.
Exactly. And because time exists throughout all physical space,
Everywhere.
from the massive scale of galactic superclusters down to the tiniest subatomic quarks, wherever there is matter, there is a clock running. No exceptions.
Yeah.
But the mayfly's particular time and the universe's general time are running simultaneously.
Which brings up the geometry of how we experience this. This was honestly one of the most compelling parts of the text to me. It says time operates on 2 axes, vertical and horizontal.
Yes.
It manifests vertically as the past, present, and future. But horizontally, it manifests as the momentary and the eternal.
It is a really profound way to map human consciousness.
Let's break that down, because vertical time is easy. That is the timeline we're all used to. It's reading a history book from page 1 to page 300. You're moving forward. But horizontal time, if vertical time is a movie playing at normal speed, horizontal time is like pausing the movie on a single frozen frame. And instead of moving forward to the next scene, you step inside the television and explore the depth of that one specific frame forever.
And we actually experience this in real life. Think about human flow states.
Oh, like when you're really focused?
Yeah. When an athlete is entirely in the zone or a musician is playing an improvised solo, they aren't thinking about the past or the future, the vertical axis.
They're just present.
They are entirely submerged in the horizontal depth of the present moment.
Yeah.
They expand the now into something that feels eternal.
I love that. But here is where my brain starts to hit a wall, because we have to talk about the physics. The text argues that time is a variable. It progresses unevenly. It says time has different meanings under different forces. It changes as gravity and acceleration change.
Which is straight up Einstein's theory of relativity.
Right. But wait, time is heartless and senseless, but it's also a variable that can expand and contract.
It does seem like a contradiction at first.
It claims the quality, shape, and motion of matter cause time to contract or expand. And frankly, I'm getting hung up on the physics here. If time is this untraceable, heartless, invisible ghost, how can the shape of a rock stretch it out? How does an invisible shadow bend?
Well, let's go back to your shadow analogy, but upgrade it.
Hmm.
Think of the fabric of space and time like a giant trampoline.
Okay, a trampoline.
If you roll a bowling ball onto the middle of the trampoline, the fabric dips and stretches around the heavy mass.
Okay, so the bowling ball is physical matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We know from modern astrophysics that a massive object like a black hole actually warps space and time around it.
Oh, sure.
Time literally moves slower for someone near a black hole than it does for someone on Earth. The physical stuff, the mass, the shape, the gravity, it's stretching the trampoline.
It's bending the fabric.
The text is taking that scientifically proven physical reality and giving it a massive philosophical weight. The material world is dictating the tension of the temporal world.
So if I think of time like a rubber band stretched across that trampoline, the matter around it dictates whether the rubber band is pulled tight or hanging loose.
Precisely. And this is where Shufeng brilliantly blurs the line between mystical philosophy and astrophysics.
But that creates a massive cliffhanger, because the text states plainly, when matter disappears, time disappears.
Mm-hmm.
If the bowling ball vanishes, if the rubber band snaps completely, what exists in the spaces where there is zero physical matter at all?
That is the exact threshold between the physical world we know and the non-material world the author really wants us to explore.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the text dives headfirst into this concept of the non-material world. Shufeng argues that non-matter is a reaction to matter, but it shares absolutely none of its property.
And it all.
Because physical matter goes through birth, decline, and death, the text concludes that everything in the physical universe is ultimately illusory and valueless in the eternal river.
It's a strong statement.
Let me read the exact quote from the source. Along the eternal river of time, all matter is transitional, illusory, and valueless.
And the logic there is brutal but consistent. Because physical things are guaranteed to decay, they hold no permanent value.
Right.
The text posits that the non-material world is the only place where true permanence exists. Because non-matter doesn't have mass, it doesn't decay.
It can't decay.
Exactly. It has no birth or death, and therefore it has no time. It is completely eternal.
Oh.
The text lists things that live in this timeless realm. The Tao, life's spiritual entity, ideas, thoughts, dharmas, the nature of Tathagata, celestial beings, angels, and the Elysium world.
Okay, I have to push back hard on this. Calling everything in the physical world illusory and valueless is a really tough pill to swallow.
I know, it sounds harsh.
I mean, for you listening right now, think about your life. You're trying to build a career, you might be raising a family, you're paying rent, you're trying to take care of your physical health. Are we just wasting our time?
It's a fair question.
Is hugging your child or eating a truly great meal valueless just because the physical sensation won't last forever? It just feels really dismissive of the human experience.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, I don't believe the author is trying to insult the beauty of our daily physical lives or the love we feel for our families.
Okay.
Rather, this is a radical challenge to our ultimate value system. The text is making a stark distinction between what is transitional and what is eternal.
So it's about priorities.
Yes. Think about where we invest our deepest anxieties. When we pour all our energy into things that are mathematically guaranteed to decay.
Like getting old.
Right, or accumulating massive wealth, chasing social status, desperately trying to preserve our physical youth. When we do that, we are voluntarily chaining ourselves to a ticking clock.
We're setting ourselves up to lose.
We are guaranteeing our own despair when the clock eventually runs out. The text argues that true permanence can only be found in the mind and the spirit.
And we should clarify all those terms the text used. It mentions the Tao, Tathagata, angels, the greatest creator. But in the context of what we're discussing, which is escaping the physical clock, we can look at these as different cultural and spiritual lenses for the exact same phenomenon.
Yes.
Pure, timeless consciousness.
Yeah.
They're frameworks for existing as an idea rather than an object.
Exactly. They're representations of the non-material.
And we actually touch this realm all the time. Have you ever been so completely lost in a daydream, or maybe you were reading an incredible book or working on a brilliant creative idea, and hours just slipped by without you even noticing?
All the time.
You look up from your desk and it's suddenly dark outside and you have no idea where the day went. According to Shufeng, in those moments of pure thought, you weren't just distracted, you had literally crossed over.
You're in the horizontal time.
Yes, you were interacting with an eternal, timeless realm. because your ideas and your thoughts do not possess physical mass. They do not cast a shadow of time.
That is a profound realization. When you are operating purely in the realm of thought, you are dropping the rubber band entirely. You are stepping completely outside the machinery of the clock.
But that sets up a huge tension for us, because my physical body is helplessly chained to that clock.
Unfortunately, yes.
I get hungry, my joints ache, I need to sleep, I am aging, but my thoughts and my spirit can touch eternity. We are basically amphibians caught between two entirely different dimensions. How are we supposed to resolve this?
Well, the text offers a very specific way out, a method for achieving what it calls eternal existence. But it starts with a harsh reality check. Trying to free the human body from time is impossible.
The imagery used here is brilliant, actually. The text says trying to free the physical body from the shackles of time is like trying to fish for the moon in water or plow the air.
It's futile.
You're trying to grab a reflection. It's foolish. The body must follow its physical nature. It will decay.
Therefore, the solution cannot be physical. To transcend time, the text says one must work on their spiritual entity during this very short physical life.
Okay.
It suggests a binary outcome based on this effort. Perfect spiritual entities ascend to a heavenly state, and defective ones descend to a hellish state.
Again, just exploring this through the author's philosophical lens.
Exactly. Furthermore, the text explicitly instructs us to work on the non-material by revering and taking the way of the greatest creator.
So what does this all mean for us practically on a Tuesday afternoon? How do we actually do that?
Well, the text says we must roam ideas, thinking, spirits, and other areas.
Roman ideas.
By dedicating our energy to the abstract, a person is dealing directly with eternity. And when you make this breakthrough, when you stop obsessing over the physical and start cultivating the mental, the text says you enter horizontal space and time.
You step into that frozen frame of the movie we talked about earlier.
You do. You feel fresh and enchanted. The quote is, "When fruits ripen, they fall. When water flows, channels form."
Wow.
It becomes a natural, effortless state of being rather than a constant fight against the clock.
It's entirely about a shift in consciousness. You stop fighting the decay of the physical and start nurturing the growth of the non-physical.
Exactly.
Let me give you one last analogy. It's like playing a deeply immersive, timed video game. You're staring at the television screen, and there's a countdown clock in the top corner ticking down to 0.
Right.
That character on the screen is your physical body. You absolutely cannot stop that clock on the screen. It is programmed to run out. But if you shift your focus away from the glowing screen and you look down at your own hands and you realize you're the actual human being sitting on the couch holding the controller,
Oh, that's good.
suddenly the game's timer loses its absolute terrifying power over you. The character in the game might run out of time, but the player, your mind, your spiritual entity, exists completely outside the plastic console.
This raises an important question about how our society operates today, especially when you contrast it with the message of this text. Look at modern culture. We prioritize physical anti-aging. We have entire industries dedicated to biohacking, serums, and surgeries.
Billions dollars.
We obsess over material legacy, building giant physical monuments and bank accounts that we desperately hope will outlast us. We spend billions trying to stop the clock on our physical bodies, which this text says is like fishing for the moon in water.
It's impossible.
This philosophy flips our modern priorities entirely. True longevity isn't about preserving the meat suit. It's about cultivating the mind, enriching the spirit, and engaging with the abstract.
That's powerful.
And the author is so passionate about this specific framework that the source text actually signs off by directing readers to a much broader, comprehensive work called Time and Space of the Universe for even further study.
It is a completely different paradigm for what it means to be alive. Let's do a quick recap to pull all of these massive concepts together.
Sounds good.
We started with this relatable idea being rushed, of being constantly chased by the clock in traffic. But then we learned through Xu Feng's text that time isn't a predator chasing us at all. It is merely the passive shadow of decaying matter.
Yes, and we explored its mechanics, discovering that while it is mathematically tied to the physical world, stretching and warping with gravity and mass, it ultimately disappears the moment physical matter disappears.
We discovered the eternal nature of the non-material realm. We realized that our thoughts, our ideas, and our consciousness have absolutely no mass and therefore cast no shadow of time.
No shadow at all.
And finally, we discussed the ultimate advice. Stop fishing for the moon and water, by obsessing over preserving the physical body, and instead cultivate your ideas and spirit to transcend the clock and step into horizontal time.
It challenges us to fundamentally relocate where we derive our sense of meaning and permanence.
It really does. And I want to leave you with a final mind-bending thought experiment based directly on the specific rules we just walked through.
Let's hear it.
The text says time is negative in the past, positive in the future, and entirely absent in the realm of thoughts and ideas. So think about what you are doing right now as you sit there listening to this, and you use your mind to recall a vivid memory from your childhood. Where exactly are you existing in that exact moment?
Ooh, that's deep.
Are you traveling backward through negative, decaying time? Or because you are existing purely in the realm of memory and thought, have you just stepped completely outside the boundaries of time altogether?
That is a question that completely dissolves the walls of the physical world. It changes everything about how we view a simple memory.
So the next time you're stuck in gridlock traffic, gripping the steering wheel and glaring at the dashboard clock, remember that digital clock only has power over the metal car and the biological body sitting in it. Your mind can roam wherever it wants.
Keep roaming.
Keep roaming in your ideas. Thank you for spending a tiny fraction of your material time exploring the eternal with us today.